G'day and welcome to part 51 of the XC Fairmont restoration. Quite a long time coming. Actually, I was appalled. The last time I worked on it, I was putting door seals on, or some of the door seals on. That was in January 2020, so I have left it quite a long time. So I decided to get back on it, and I've had another big serve of enthusiasm from Graham, the XA Coupe guy, and we'll go into reasons why later. So I'm not going to talk for long because the whole video is full of yabbering and all that sort of stuff, so I hope you enjoy. Under the XC, having a bit of a look. That engine pipe is temporary so that we can just start and drive the car to an exhaust place. You can see the outlet of it there is leaning down at an angle. It's for the engine stand. I had a sort of a loop arrangement. I've got to cut that and level it out so I can stick that muffler on the floor at the base of the diff you can see on the ground, just so I can have some ground clearance with that sort of attached temporarily. So I'll take the engine pipe off, I'll cut that outlet off and straighten it up and then put it back on. The other thing which is a bother is I've taken the boot off the clutch, and you can see the clutch actuation pin's on an angle. I knew about that when I put the engine and trans in. I was desperate to put it in, so I've got to take the clutch master off, remove that boot and modify the fork so that that can be straight. And that's going to be a bit of a challenge as well. I've been dreading doing that because I didn't want to take the gearbox out again. The rest of it's just cobwebs and it's messy. I thought I needed O-rings for those, but I've already put those in. The copper washers. The car's brand new, as good as. So all the front, in terms of the brakes, are done. The engine still looks pretty fresh. There's an oil leak there. I think it is. That looks like oil. The rest of it's pretty good. So I might just pop this wheel off and give me a bit of better access, and we'll start working on it. Goodness, look how dodgy that looks. It's night time now. Look at that exhaust. Terrible. But it's got a bracket going up toward the seat, one of the seat bolts. Welded that on and just tacked around there on the engine pipe. I was going to take this off, the engine pipe off, and straighten that out, but I just couldn't be bothered. That'll do. It'll get me to a place in Ringwood, which is all I need. So far as that fork is concerned, you can see what I've done. I've actually welded a small tube. It's actually a piece of round rod with a hole drilled in the middle of it, and I've also triangulated the back of it there. Now, that means that this guy here, sorry about my wobbly camera, is going to fit. So just a moment. But you can see it's sort of roughly in the right place. I might have to just mess with the boot a bit, but I think that's going to be fine. May even need to bore that out a bit more, but I've taken it out about 10 millimeters just to make sure the trajectory of that push rod's right. The only other thing is I haven't really ruined the paint on the firewall. It's got a couple of little marks, but I can get those out. I don't need to do anything else when here really, I don't think. But it all does look quite good still. So that's good. So tomorrow I think I'll come out and I'll measure the tail shaft. We'll go and order one of those. As far as the rest of it under here, it looks alright. It's just a bit dirty, a bit grotty, and a few cobwebs. We can get rid of those. But I'm very happy with it. Delighted. So onward and upward. We'll just keep going, I think. Well, it's fairly amazing what I didn't actually get done properly on this car. I sort of cobbled it together in some ways. Some stuff I'd done very well and other stuff I hadn't. The caster rods, I didn't fit the bush. Where are they? The caster rod bushes I didn't fit properly, so I've done that now. They sort of weren't mating up where those two spigots are. So I've popped out the other one over here, and I'm just fitting that properly. And I didn't sort of arrange the toe or any of that sort of stuff properly either. I also didn't fit this lower seal to the door. That's not fitting too well there, but the rest of it does. I've got to get some of those too. And also that armrest, I'm not happy with that armrest. It's sort of saggy and horrible, so I'll get another one of those. The insulation panel for the boot, I'll contact John and see if he can help me with that. But I didn't fit the seal to the driver's door because they provided two left-hand ones originally, and by the time I got the others back, I put the car away, so I've got to put that seal on that driver's door there, which is on the floor. And Yeah, this one's done. So then I've got to redo the shut lines. I'm extremely excited because Graham, the XA Coupe guy, is going to help me with front guards, and that means this car gets finished this year. You know, then I think I have to get, what do I need for it? I can't remember what I need. Oh, the headlight's silvered. I've got to put the headlight brackets on, and because that other champion guy drilled into all this, or sorry, ground it all back, I need to re-drill it for the headlights. And I think that XD type power steering cooler might be in the way, so I might have to reroute that. So I'm just going to continue with this. So then the clutch actuator's done, all the front ends in and done. I've just got to check that I tighten those brake unions down there. Then the front wheels can go back on, and I'll pull off the rears. I did cut the brake lines for the rear, and stuck them in here. And I just want to double check that I've done them properly, that they're the right length, and I'll get them sorted. So really, in essence, there's not an awful lot left. I have been going through, there's the front seat belts that need re-webbing, so we'll send them off on Tuesday. I'll just ring them to make sure they're open, they might not be. They need to be put on, and also I dug out the rear brake lines. That's the one from, no, that's the front one. That's the breather. Where are they? Yeah. I dug these out, so I'll get some new ones of these. And also the one from the rear axle housing. And I'll just check that union's the right size with all of that and get new ones of those. And then we can bleed the brakes. So then we've got accelerator, clutch, brakes, power steering, obviously, and the car will drive. So I just need to finish off what I'm doing here with the front end, pop the wheels back on, take the back wheels off, just check everything's all good with measurements and tail shaft measurement and all that sort of stuff. I want to get that done too, because then we drive. At least we drive it out there, and we'll put it up the front here in the XW down the back, so at least I've got room to finish this off. But I'm so keen, so excited that I can finally finish this car off, which I bought 6 years ago. I bought it in July 2015, a month before I finished the XW, and it was supposed to be a 2-year build. So it was supposed to be finished by my birthday, 15 September in 2017. It's been sitting here, and it's been bothering me. Everyone's wanted to see it. The problem I've had with it is I wanted to do this, or at least after I begun this car, I decided I wanted it to be better than the XW. Because there are faults in the XW. It's not bad. It's pretty good. But there are faults in it. The roof looks great. But there are faults in the front guards I don't like. And my opinion is the front guards are the hardest part to do. You know, when you're blocking, you can block a whole door. You know, you stick it on a trestle, you can block it all out. Very easy to do. But getting that line right is a pain. And I don't even know how perfect I got that, because I don't think it's perfect. That was the door I reskinned. So the front guards are just a different story. You need even just the trestles I've got wouldn't support them properly to block them back. And I don't think I can do them as well as I've done the rest of the car. I'm very happy with this car and how it looks, but I just didn't think I could do the front guards as well. And so I kept putting it off. It was just, if it wasn't filmed and no one knew about this, I'd probably just do the best I could and just blow over them. But, you know, Graham's a professional and he's got a lot of skills I haven't got. So for him to offer to do them is exceedingly generous. So it just means I can get them back, paint them and stick them on. So it's a huge deal for me. Absolutely a winner. So I'll continue with it, and I've just got to put that cast rod in again and just sort of tighten up to around about where I think the cast is right, and just take a few measurements for tail shaft, that sort of stuff. Power window switch. Somebody gave me a power window switch for the back, and it's here, and that's a winner. So I've just got to check this out, and that might be the answer to the power window woe on the back window. The motor works, the wiring's all good, but there's a chance that there's a problem with the switch, and it could even be the front or the back one. I've pulled them apart and it still didn't work properly. It goes down but not up. But that means that, and I don't know who that was. Please send me a message because it was recent. There was this and there was 2 snibs. I think it was when I was doing the lawnmowers. But, you know, the car is just so bloody close. It's so close to being finished. And it needs a heck of a good clean. But, you know, after I've got the guards on, of course, you know, you can put your trim across the bottom and the arches, wheel arch moulds and all this. I think I still might need one of those. There's a kick trim that somebody's offered me. Nathan Hickey has said I've got a kick trim, and you're welcome to it. I would like to pay for it, Nathan, but if you say no, well, I'll accept it. That's the left-hand one, which is good. This one is the right-hand one, which is mounted. So, you know, that makes all the difference. With the seatbelts, I can put all this stuff in. They're out of that ZH marquee that I don't a car, these are messy, and they're really flimsy, horrible plastic, so I'm not sure painting those is going to be that successful, but you know what? That's what I've got. They're dogleg mouldings, or the rear door mouldings. These are Fairmont, obviously, because the dogleg's so much bigger on Fairmont. These just need to be sort of cut back to around about here for a Falcon. Then painted, easy peasy Japanesey, right? There's no issue with that. Again, they're ochre, and they need to be the green. Oh, what else is there? There's a front bumper bar, and tail shaft from the XW. Pretty sure the uni sizes are all the same. These ends here are the same on the 351 tail shaft on the XW. It's just they flare out and go into a larger tube, which I think is 3 inch or something like that, 3 1/4 inch. Yeah, so that's the original 6-cylinder one from the XW. So that goes off with the yoke to have a new tail shaft made, new tube. And the rest of it's looking damn good. The rear bumper could do with another thing. John's quoted me a good price to get that redone. It'll have to be straightened between the dual exhaust inner parts. It looks like it's pushed into the bottom a bit. And of course, I also need him to get an insulation panel, which I can make. I've got the original one from the Fairlane, but it's pretty knackered, and getting an accurate representation of it would be quite difficult. But you know, there was rust here, and I sort of cut that out and welded a patch, and you cannot see it. I think I did it on that side, maybe the other side as well, and also made up new, yeah, you can see there, drip rails for there, and welded them in, and they look great. I'm not at all bothered about any of that. So as far as this car is concerned, do I regret doing it? Absolutely not. Would I do it again? Absolutely not. Originally, I was going to do a XA Falcon 390 big block, which I had. I had a disc brake 9-inch, which I'd love for this car, but I sold that ages and ages ago. I had a reconditioned 3-flat centre, and I had access to a top loader too for that XA. And I wanted to make it like a mock police car, but you know, with the Falcon 500 hubcaps and that sort of thing. But I wouldn't buy another car as a wrecked body shell and build a thing out of it, particularly not now when parts are just ridiculously expensive. I think I mentioned this car was 28 grand or something, the way you see it here. But to do it now would be double that, I reckon. It'd cost you about 60 grand in bits and pieces. So it's all looking good, just a bit dirty, and I'll continue. Just look at these lines. That is a front one, which we don't need, that can go in the rubbish. These ones fit, they're the ones off it. They've been sitting around for 5 years, don't know. And I've just been checking the flare type and the union type, and they're all good, so they're all the same. And that one goes in there. I'll just check the one in the car just to make sure that's all correct. I've got the through bolt, and yep, that's all cool. And then I can take those lines off to Pete and get them done. Peter at New Brakes in Ringwood is a wonderful chap. So that's cool. Now I'm clear on what I have to do, bleed all the brakes. I've got to organise these and I can bleed it all, and I'm happy. And I've got the three bolts sitting in the diff housing and the vent tube. So that's cool. And we know what we need here. Oh God, this is just horrendous. So that fits, which is kind of good. Oops, I dropped the cap. Where did the cap go? Okay, that's pretty good. Let's put that little cap over there. I thought I scratched that fuel tank. Over there, was it? I can't remember. God, I'm ashamed with this freaking car. Look how untidy it looks. Still, we're not far away now. Life's good. Sorry about the crap camera work. Another view of this horrible exhaust. I've just put some aluminium tape around there. And that'll do. Let's get in the muffler shop as I said before. We'll just check uni joints and all that sort of stuff. Surprisingly, this is a stock factory dual exhaust car, but it's only one heat shield. There's no one on this side. Go figure. I'm pleased with it though. It's a lovely car. Those fuel lines were a pain to put in too. Right, so I've got to try and temporarily fit the guards just to see if obviously they're going to fit properly and they need reworking, but the fuel line actually down here I've had to move. Well, I had it clamped with that sort of up there and it's in the way of where one of the underneath supports is. That's no big deal, I can change all that. I'm just going to try and put it on and see what happens. I'm already getting bitten by the mozzies too, they're a pain in the neck. These are the original guards off the car too, so they should fit, but there's been a lot of alterations since I last on here. I've got to get that, so to get a larger extension, lift up the back and sort of nip it up around about where I think it's going to fit. It's very fiddly. You can see that's just not satisfactory. Gaps on this are weird anyway because that's the best I can do with this door. And you can see, where is it? It's different there to there. And this is my first attempt at skinning a door with a second hand door skin. If you remember, my frame was good, but the skin was knackered. Yeah, not really. But this has to go over. So I've already scratched that, which is a bummer. I'm going to push this support, this thing over. I might have to actually take it out to slide it over because there's clips sitting under, which is a bit of a nuisance. So I've got to take that out and move it over here, and I think that'll open that up to the point where the guard can sit properly, and then we've got to sort of bring it down into the bottom. I'm not too worried. I think it's going to be alright. This one's just sitting again temporarily, but you can see that is in line. This doesn't look too bad, even though it's ugly there. We can close that up, but also we've got a large gap here, so it's got to come over a couple of millimeters just to allow that panel and this sort of room to come in. Right, so I've been an idiot. So I'm fixing, this one's not fixed at the bottom yet. That's it done I'm talking about. I've pulled a bit more stuff off here, and yeah, it looks nice and clean in here. Anyway, this one's giving me grief, and I've damaged the door. I've damaged the paint on the door, but I can fix that. But it's not that bad. It's worth noting these are the actual original guards off this car. None of the other stuff is off this car. The doors and everything aren't. So they were sold separately because the car was parted out. And the boot lid and doors are off this dark blue thing. I don't know what that was. And weren't nearly as good as the original parts. And that one doesn't look too bad. What I did, because I didn't pull this car apart, I just assembled it out of spare parts and all that sort of crap, is I didn't know that that steel there, there's a steel member behind it, had that on the wrong side. That's all it was. And so the guard was actually sitting right out. And gaps were horrendous. I thought, it's the truth. I didn't know it was jumped, this thing. But it turns out that it was completely my fault. So I'll finish fitting these up, and then I've got to take them off again to pack them and send them. And then we're so close to the car being finished. And I'll tell you what, I'm one happy camper. I'm absolutely wrapped. I also got these from Andy Brook. He gave me a pair of new old stock ones. I'm only going to use one because I've got another one and I'll return the other one to him. About the only fastener I haven't got is 3/16 fine. That's what those are. Those are. And those, I guess, your guard extensions. We need to make sure that's level with the bonnet, which it is. and they'll get done as well. Well, I would think so. So I've got to get some fasteners for it though. I've only got one. The other one I've got, of course, is on the bonnet of my XW, which is not a good spot for it. This one's been painted before, but that one's a nice one, and of course we're putting these mouldings on now. Graham has been such a gentleman to me, so kind, because he gave me one, in among a few other bits and pieces. So Grant Wickham, that's the boot trim I've got to put on, and Grant also gave me a bonnet one too, and these are really hard to get. Oh, look at this, I drove this car not long ago. Anyway, Grant also gave me that for the bonnet too. That's going to fall. Doesn't matter. So that's just wonderful, and Graham had provided this one here, and I've only got the one, so I need to find another one of those, and then I've got a full set. Of course, that will fit on that panel there across the front. So I'm wrapped. So I've just got to get a driver's side one of them, and I'm pretty much set. Driver's side one of those. I also need drip rail mouldings for obviously here on both sides. You can get new olds, or you can get Repro XWXY ones, but I don't think it's going to cut it for this car. But we're really, really close. So they're going to be fine. I'll finish fitting them up. Now I know they go, which way they go, and I shouldn't have a problem. And then I'll just pack them up. It's getting close. Once I got those back, these little guys go in here. I probably should have. Is that even level? Not sure. I'm wondering whether I probably should have dollied it up as a 302, because that's what the car's supposed to be. Red rocker covers, because on the codes it actually says engine P, transmission L, so it's a factory 4-speed car, but it's originally a 302. But anyway, that doesn't matter. That's just a small detail. Quite a nice one too. First time I've seen daylight in 7 years. 6 years. That's a bit better. We've got to have a clean spot for the XW. Used to keep the MG there. You can see from the mark on the wall. Wouldn't be a bad idea to go through some of this, but I'm out of time. I've got so much to do. That's an old floor polish. I don't even know why that's there. Right, well, I'll get him, put him in, and then we can stick the XC up the front. This is not bad way to see the interior. It's sort of daylight, and it might make it a bit easier and to see the sort of true colour of it all. Yeah, really happy with that. It's beautiful. Really good. Right, we better get this in then. So these cars that I do, here, I haven't buffed that out. Are all painted in acrylic. And acrylic's fine, but it's nowhere near as good as 2-pack. But we can't paint in 2-pack here, you know, home garage. It's just too toxic. So acrylic's alright if it's a garaged vehicle. You know, if it's going to be left outside in all 4 seasons, it deteriorates very rapidly. But for this sort of thing, I mean, this was done 6 years ago, no, 7 years ago or so now, and it's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. So I don't mind using it. It's very, very DIY friendly. The problem is though, as far as the guards are concerned, I've got to try and work out how to freight them. I started messing around with this one, and I didn't take the paint off. On the rest of the car, anything that was tampered with went back to bare metal. And the same with the XW. The whole XW went back to bare metal as well because it was painted in jam. Now, all I've done with this, I put a little bit of fill here and there. Most of what I did is all just blocking back what the guy that had it before me did. And his work was so crummy, but I lost my way with it. If you look at how he's painted or how he's welded that blank in, you know, I just thought to get the thing back on the road, let's just, you know, blow over it. And if it fails, it fails. Who cares? At least the car's on the road then. But the car's better than that, you know. And I just thought, yeah, I'll never get that line right. I don't actually know how to do that. Or at least I don't know how to do it very well. So, yeah, as we said, Graham's going to have a look at it. And he wants to do it in a 2-pack, because that's what he uses, which is much better. Certainly in the preparation products, it offers much sort of better corrosion resistance and all this sort of stuff. The issue is paint matching. It'll scream if it doesn't match, but this is a solid colour, or at least the Wimbledon White's a solid colour that I use, and I love that colour. And so I'll paint out a part for him and send it, but I'll send it separately. In the meantime, I've got to work out how the heck we're going to do this. It's going to work out too heavy, so I might actually need to make a kind of a makeshift pallet. In saying that though, I want the painted surfaces facing each other with airspace between them, so that way there's less chance of damaging the painted surfaces. And also the base of the pallet sort of, or the thing it's sitting on, toward the bottom, which kind of goes against me because it'd be better toward the top because that's where it's heavier. So its centre of gravity is going to be, you know, but it's better this way because if anyone puts a small forklift trolley or whatever into it and damages it, that's just black under there. So it's very easy to fix. So I've got to kind of try and figure out how we're going to do this. I'll get my saw out. We've got some nice weather and I'll make a start. Now another thing I need to do, this is my bog applicator tray. I've had it for years. I'm just going to rough it up, etch it and paint it, or prime and paint it in the top colour, to give him a good look at what colour is actually on the car. Precarious but quite solid. We've got the thing mounted top and bottom. I've also got this one here, so I'm going to put them together now. It's going to weigh about 14 tonnes, but it's the safest way I can think of doing it. Things are kind of bad about this. One is weighs about the same as the passenger ship, and the second is I didn't really do any design work, and I just sort of threw it together, and it's got one flaw. I'll show you in a sec. Well, it's got a few. Right, so this looks a little bit bad, but it'll do the job. I'm hoping it'll do the job. I'm wondering if Graham's going to know how to undo it. Just use a screwdriver, I guess. But it's all kind of put together on top of itself, if you know what I mean. So I guess if you separate the halves, it'll just fall apart. Very rigid. The only thing is, it weighs 15 tonnes, but it's a safe way of transporting the guards. I've left airspace between them, and the painted surfaces are facing in. So I've got a pallet wrapping thing. I might go and get that and see if I can wrap it. Well, that's it for this one. I'll stick this on the front porch. I'm going to put a little dolly under there and just wheel it out. It isn't actually all that heavy. Forgot to pack these. I don't know if he wants those or not, or I'm going to paint them. I'm not sure. And a little spray out there. It's very rough, but that's in the colour that the rest of the car is. Right, so that's it. I'm very happy. We're getting back into the XC now. And then after that, I think we'll have to do that the Plymouth or the Bluebird or one of these cars anyway. Tomorrow's Tuesday, so supply should be open. If they're not, they're probably taking an Easter break or whatever, but at least I have the measurements for the tail shaft. I know exactly what I'm doing with the brake lines. I can get all that done. The other thing I've got to do is a handbrake cable. I think I've only got a Fairmont one, but that's all good. And drip roll mouldings, I have to get those. But parts wise, there's drip roll mouldings and there's a eyebrow. I think it's the driver's one, can't remember. And that's it, you know. So I'm really, really happy. I'm stoked actually, because thanks to Graham, I've now got, you know, I was going to get it out anyway and start doing work on the guards anyway, but I just didn't want to do them, and it was going to drag on. So thanks to him, we'll see this car going much sooner than later. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. What do you reckon? Shit. Jesus.